Hey guys, want to make a different kind of video tonight. It's been about a week since I uploaded. I'm sure you guys are wondering where I was. I've just been lazy, really. Sitting out here on the mower, that's why it's probably darker. I got both lights on the garage for good lighting. You probably can't even see it because it's too damn dark, but I'm sitting out on my Dixon right now. See, my Dixon mower. It's a nice night out. Mowing season will be coming up soon, so want to kind of make a. It's not going to be like a funny video, just kind of like a my opinion type of video. I don't want to offend anyone in it, but it's just my opinion, kind of. I think I grew up in a bipolar town. I'm going to call this I grew up in a bipolar area because, like, the way I'm looking at things is like, well, not in this town, just probably anywhere. Maybe it's just me, but like, I don't know. I'm just going to be brutally honest. I think people in this area generally, or I shouldn't even say in this area generally, it's in this town, but I think people in this town are bipolar, to be honest. Like, they can 1 minute or like one day be like so happy to see you, or like so willing to help you on something, but then like 24 hours later, they're like, screw you, like, get the hell away from us. It's like, I've seen it my whole childhood. I've just constantly, like, I had a great childhood. Don't get me wrong. I had a great childhood. You know, it's just that it's constantly always getting bitched at. Seemed like, not by my parents. My parents were always proud of me. They're good parents. Not by my parents, but just people in the town, basically. And I'm not gonna name names on the video, but just people know who they are. But just like constantly, I always was getting bitched at, like, oh, you should have this, you should be doing this, why are you doing this, you should have this, you should have that. It's just like, why? Just always grew up never sometimes feeling good enough, and always having people tell me like one thing but then going around and doing the next. I should just say I never had much positivity when I was younger, and I've never had much positivity in my life. I've had positivity, like positive moments, but I never had like, I had happy times. I don't know how to say it because I didn't have happy times, but I didn't have miserable times either. Like, kind of had my happy times and just like had my sad times, and just like, reason I want to say this area was town is bipolar because 1 minute somebody can be so inviting here, like, oh, come check this out, or like, yeah, how would you help us? Like, I'll set an example. Something happens. Let's say, excuse me. Let's say like somebody's garage is hit by a tornado here, or somebody's garage burns down. And just set an example. That's never. I don't think this ever happened around here, but one day you can come up there and then they'll be like, they won't be happy because they're facing a tragedy, but that's just an example. But like, they'll be all happy and be like, oh, this happened, and then you're kind of like, oh, how about I help you and everything, and they take you around, show you where something happened, and then you maybe help them out, clean it up or whatever. Then sometimes not even, oh, my phone's it's just my phone charge thing, but sometimes it'll just seem like, it depends on the day, but sometimes you'll come back 10 minutes later, like, I'll be riding my mower around, come back maybe 10 minutes later, and then they're just all grouchier than grouchy, like, what struck you between now and 10 minutes ago that you're so grouchy? It's just like, what the frick, dude? Like, you know? And I guess that's why I'm so weak emotioned, because I always have that fear of people going somewhere. I don't know what it is, or like changing their mind, like that I'm not going to be doing good enough, or I'm not good enough for them, or I'm not doing a good enough job. That's why I feel really good when people say you do a good job. And they say it more than once. They don't just say it once and then, like, probably 2 hours later are like, okay, you screwed up on this. You're doing bad. I didn't get that from my parents. I got it from this town. Like, 5 minutes in, they'll probably be like, oh, you're doing a good job, or he's doing a good job. And then somebody, it feels good when I'm pleasing. You're not going to please everybody, but it feels good when I can please more than one person. And I can have people say like, oh, I'm happy for you. Oh, you're doing a good job. And constantly say it, not change their mind 10 minutes later. You know. Sorry, there's just something in my nose, guys. But I guess it feels good to have that, because around this area I had that a lot, where like I'd be doing good 1 minute, but then the next minute's like, oh, you're doing bad. Well, I wanted this done. Why don't you do this? Well, you just complimented me. I know you're correcting me from some of my mistakes, but could you do it in a better way? Like, you know, instead of acting like all like, oh, can you do this for me? Oh, you did so good. Or, oh, I'll pay you to do this. Thank you for doing this. But then like, you freak out because I didn't do something, but yeah, 1 minute ago you're telling me, oh, I heard you do good. Like, instead of freaking out and acting all bipolar, like, could you calmly take it? Like, I know not everybody's chill, but like, it's not like this was a factor. It was like something I was doing that was dangerous. It was little things that aren't worth freaking out about, you know. It's not like it was like, I'm just going to set this as an example. It's like if I was mowing and I forgot to weed whack a lawn a garage. Okay, like, why are you freaking out that I didn't weed whack a lawn a garage? It's not like I blew grass against your siding. I'd be upset about that. It's not like I took my weed eater and hacked off your siding. You know? And then also what drove me nuts in this area is one time when I was running my lawn business, I mowed somebody's property. I nicked a chunk, like those protectors they put around the tree. I nicked a chunk off of that. Instead of them telling me specifically, I can understand. I wasn't 18 at the time. I was like 14, 15. They docked my pay the next week when I mowed for them again. And it's like, okay. And then I weed whacked a bit better and made sure not to nick that. That was still nicked. This was my mistake too. I should have told them, but I was too nervous on losing that customer to tell them. But yet, they don't say nothing to me. I have a feeling they knew that I nicked a chunk of their tree off. It's pretty goddamn obvious when you go to walk around your yard. Oh, that guy who mowed my yard, he nicked a chunk off of the protector off my tree. Instead of telling me, he started talking crap on me. And just saying like, oh, he doesn't do good work, or I didn't like his quality of work. Like, you didn't tell me, but you're telling other people that. And I had to find out from other people that you didn't like my quality of work. And I guess that isn't being bipolar. But, you know, I don't know. The reason I'm calling this a video, I grew up in a bipolar area, is just to open up to you guys a little bit. I like how this town was and still is. Like, 1 minute somebody new could probably move in, and then they're all like, oh, hi, and then like 5 minutes later, 5 seconds, one time I saw somebody move in, they're like, oh, hi, and then they're like, are you here to help? And then one guy who I thought was a friendly guy from this town, he was bipolar. He was like, I'm not going to explain in the video my personal life of what went down, but he just knew my dad and things, and it was just like 1 minute, like at the time when he was staying, my dad was staying. Well, I'm not going to get into detail, but at the time my dad knew him well, they were pretty nice. I shouldn't say he because I'm not going to specify for anymore for you guys, but at the time they were nice and everything, and I thought they always kind of would be, but then like somebody's honking their horn. Like 1 week later, or like probably not even 1 week later, a month later, 2 months later, there was an issue at his place, and then they were just so ornery. It's like, what the heck, you know? That's why I say this area is bipolar. Like, 1 minute you can be happy, or, you know, you change your mind every minute or day or something, or like, what the heck, you know? It's like 1 minute you're so excited to see me. You're telling me about your life. You're telling me what your plans are. And then it's kind of just like, okay, get the hell out of here. Get the hell away from me. I don't want you here. It's like, you were so accepting of me. Some guy's yelling now. You were so accepting of me like a day ago or 5 minutes ago, and now you're freaking out on me. Or like, I feel like every time I try to help, I'd be pleasing one person, but then I'd be told by one person to do this, but then another person would freak out and say, just stay the hell out of there. Or it'd be like, why don't you just stay out of there? Like, no, why don't you just stay out of there? It's like, I'm trying to help, you know, like, I'm doing what I was told by one person. Now you're freaking out on me. You didn't say anything to me earlier. You're telling me 1 minute ago that I was doing good, but then the next minute you're all freaking out and everything, and like, I'm doing bad and everything. It's like, screw you then, you know. I had a lot of that in this area, and I guess what feels good about the situation I'm in now is people aren't bipolar. We had one bipolar manager at my IV job. I'm not going to go into detail about that, but people now, like, they're not changing their mind from one day. Well, they can change their mind from one day to the next, but they'll tell me if I do wrong, and they'll tell me if I'm doing good. They don't sit there and change their mind every minute. Or like, if there is something I did good, but there's something then I did wrong, like, they approach in a professional manner. You know? And I guess that's what feels good, is to please people, and like, not have somebody 1 minute so happy at you and everything, and the next changing their mind. I guess that's what felt good about having my first girlfriend, is somebody who didn't change their mind over the course of like a minute or something. Like, girls from my school, they could like instantly change their mind about you within like a day or a minute. I don't know what it was. Like, one day they'd be like, oh, I want to be your... That was not girls in general from my school, just everybody. One day, oh, I want to be your friend. And then the next are like, screw you. It's kind of like they saw me more of like their show or their entertainment rather than their friend. You know, and I always pushed to have a girlfriend in high school and things. And I think I was more for those girls. I think I was more girls and guys, not just the girls, but specifically when I tried to get a girlfriend in high school, I think I was more for their show. Somebody then to like, not then to laugh. It wasn't all the girls and it wasn't all the guys. Certain ones, I should say. I was like their laughing stock or whatever. I kind of feel like, looking back, I wasn't really going to go anywhere with them. And I was glad I never furthered friendship. There's a few I still talk to from high school. A few girls I still talk to from high school. But I'm glad I never actually dated any one of those girls from my high school or anything. Because I think I wouldn't have gone anywhere, because they wanted to be out doing wild things like drinking and smoking. And it was just like, I talk too much. I brag too much. And they never trusted me. And that's what felt good about having a first love, is somebody to trust you and not change their mind about you within a minute. And I guess that's what I was always afraid of, is certain things that would happen in my life. I thought she would leave me over it. And then that's when she'd say, I'm not going anywhere, which felt good. Because it was certain things I couldn't control, or certain mess ups that I did that I could control, like hitting somebody's damn car, I probably could have controlled that, or hitting a mailbox. Hitting a mailbox, I probably could have controlled that. But it was nice to not have somebody get all angry and everything right away. Even the guy who I hit his mailbox, he was actually pretty chill. I thought he'd be pissed. He was actually pretty chill. He never got back to me though. So I never paid him for his mailbox. I was going to pay him. But he was, enough of that guy, but he was pretty chill. But I guess what felt good was somebody who didn't change their mind within the course of like over a day or over a minute, because she did break up with me overnight, but it didn't happen overnight. I knew it was coming, guys. Sorry, I just feel kind of short of breath because I talk a lot and I don't take a breath, but I just knew it was coming because over the course after that, a couple days after I saw her, just that night in general, the last night I ever saw her, just kind of after we went out to eat and everything, she just kind of seemed to be slipping away in a way. So, at least it kind of didn't happen within a second, like, oh, screw you. It didn't happen within a second. That's what happened around a lot around this area. Within a second, they would be changing their mind about you or something. It was just stupid. That's why I call this area bipolar, because, like, one minute what it seems like is 1 minute they want your help, they're complimenting your help, but then the next it's like, oh, I've got something better. I get out of here. I got this, or I'm going to do this. Just get out of here. Okay. I always felt like I ever just tried and I'd always be pushed away. Like, 1 minute it's like, oh, I'm doing so good. But then it's like the next minute it's like, okay, you're doing bad. Okay, just get out of here. Just it happened out of the blue. It's like, okay, so I guess I'm used to kind of being rejected or not accepted. And that's what felt good at first, like at my job, it feels good to be accepted. And even at Hy-Vee, when I was at Hy-Vee, I mean, they didn't change their mind within a second. Like, it depended on how busy you were. But they didn't change their mind within a second or whatever. They kind of, I don't know. I'm not going to go into detail. I mean, what happened at Hy-Vee was different than this area. Like, they'd get mad at you on things, but I don't know. They weren't bipolar. They're only that one manager was. She was bipolar. She'd be like all happy one day, and the next day she'd be all like, it didn't happen over the course of days, I guess. It probably happened within the course of hours. Like 2 hours she'd be happy, but then the next 2 hours she'd be like, whoa, like turn into the beast. It's like turn into the Hulk. It's like, whoa, that kind of happened out of the blue. 1 second ago you're laughing and everything, and then the next you're like turning into the Hulk. It kind of reminded me of this town. It's like 1 minute you're like all happy. You're like, shit, who can I think of that's really happy? I can't think of a good cartoon of somebody who's really happy. You know what? I can't think. I can't think of someone because the Hulk is angry. It's like 1 minute you're, who's really happy in a TV show? Oh my God. Okay, I'll say it's like 1 minute you're SpongeBob. You're happy-go-lucky SpongeBob, and within a second you're turning into grouchy Squidward. I'll say that. I can't think of anyone else who's really positive on it. I could probably think of someone just not within this second, but yeah. So it's been a while since I made a video. I figure I'd just make a video on that. Maybe make you guys laugh. I don't know if that will. But mowing season is coming up. I'm excited to be getting the Dixon back out. Me and this Dixon, my old buddy, have been through a lot. Because I met my ex in July. And I bought this Dixon in August. I didn't meet her in July. I started chatting with her in July. Bought this Dixon in August. And I think we were chatting for a couple weeks, and then that's when I met her, was later on in that August. And the storage units, this mower was actually stored at East Well, I'm not gonna. You guys just know East, but it was stored in the town she lived in, on the side of the town she lived in at the storage units. So it's kind of coincidental, you know. She lived probably 3 minutes away from the storage units where I bought that motor was stored when me and my dad bought it. But when it gets nice, or when I did get this sucker going, but maybe when I wash it up, take it onto the car wash, get the blade sharpened, I might make a video on my Dixon. If you guys want a video on the Dixon, I'll know if you guys watch my videos or not, the full videos. Tell me in the comments if you want a video about the Dixon. She ain't nothing special. Well, that's the Dixon right there. It's just a little 38. It's this is what I used to mow with. This is Sean's mower. Now it overheated and just was running into too much for me. It's a 54-inch deck. It's a rider. I do miss this in some, not really. I shouldn't say I miss this, but I love my Dixon. I used to have a Cub Cadet, but then a PTO clutch went out of it, and I couldn't find one anywhere. I found one that was like $300. It wasn't even the right one. That mower was an early 90s mower. I ended up selling it. I looked all over, guys. People tell me now, oh, I had one. Like, yeah, places told me that too. And it just wasn't the right one, wasn't the right fittings. It's just like, I don't know, it was an old mower, but that was a 46. I used out to my grandpa's about an acre to mow out there. This is a little 38, the Dixon. But it's a zero turn. So my dream mower would be to get a Toro time cutter. I don't need a Time Master or Z Master. Maybe like a Toro time cutter with my ride, 50-inch deck. Or a John Deere, but I can keep dreaming on a John Deere. They're expensive. Really expensive. I'm thinking Toro. You guys probably can't even see my face now, but that's going to be it for the video, guys. I just figure I'd make an out in the garage video, talk about life, because it is a nice night. So have a fun Friday night, and can't think of any good logos yet to say, because all the logos I can think of are taken up by other YouTubers. So for now, just have a good night.